Hi everybody. There really isn't a community like the Jeep community anywhere else in automotive. I mean, buy a Wrangler and right away you're included in the Jeep wave. Everyone wants to wave at you. So right now we're gonna take a look at some super cool Jeeps as part of our Dude, I Love My Ride at Home edition. Of course, we can't be coming out and meeting up with you guys to discuss your cool rides, so we put out the word to you to send in video clips to share your rides with the world. Now, I went through the master list and picked out some of the coolest Jeeps that have been submitted, and that's what we're gonna look at right now. And of course, when these videos are done, I'll have to go through and rate each one of these rides. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. And you know what, guys? You all know that old Jeeps are cool, but we're gonna kick this thing off with a brand new Jeep. Let's do it.
Hey TFL.
My name's Tyler and this is my 2019 JL Wrangler 8-speed 3.6 liter 2-door Rubicon. So to begin, we'll just start off with the modifications. In the front is a rock hard aluminum stubby bumper with a winch guard. The winch is a Smitty built X2O 10K synthetic winch with a factor of 55 splicer on the front. The reason to do this is to maintain the rope's strength and not to have that pin as a failure point in the other factor 55s. It has the LED lights that comes factory. These are just some looks. They are actually metal, but if they do anything is up to discussion. The thing you probably noticed first is these fender flares. These are Ace Expedition fender flares, wide. I got these because I will be putting 37s on eventually, so these will fit 37s and allow full flex. You can also see those in the back. So moving on along quickly to the side, these are rock hard 4x4 sliders. They're pretty darn tough. I've had the whole Jeep on them before, no problems whatsoever. They're pretty great. Moving on to the back, here is the Ace rear fender. You can see quality's good. The install, I had a shop do it. Said it took them 2 entire days to install these, so not an easy install. In here is a JCR inner fender liner. The fit wasn't that great because of these fenders, so that's up to discussion. Should also note I have Ace Expedition inner liners in the front as well. Bumper wise, it's an LOD Destroyer with rigid D series. These are floods, and these are wired up to the factory auxiliary switch. The reason I did that instead of the rear lights is so if I'm working with maybe a patient in the back, or I needed to be working out of the back of the Jeep, I can have them on all the time and I don't have to be stuck in reverse. So going on into the inside, these seats originally were cloth, the Rubicon cloth seats. I installed the PRP leathers because I'm often dirty after the trail, so I figured this is a lot easier to clean. They are a pain in the butt to install though, so yeah, it's your trade-off. This radio wasn't factory either. This is an 8.4 inch upgrade. This originally came standard with the 7 inch. I put that in. Extremely easy install. I actually tore it out in the dealer's parking lot in 3 minutes for the unlock code that was needed. Highly recommend that upgrade. 7 inch, not good. 8.4 is incredible, especially with Gaia now. The mapping functionality is fantastic with the big screen. Here's the auxiliary switches you all know about. This is for the front, this is for the back. That's about as easy as that can be. In terms of likes, the 2-door is phenomenal on the tight trails in Washington. As you can see, we have the traditional Pacific Northwest pinstriping that we get out here. Not like you lucky guys out in Colorado and Utah. We unfortunately have to bash a few trees quite a bit. Dislikes, the steering is probably the worst steering I've ever encountered in my life. This vehicle, for the life of me, does not stay straight on the highway. But I know a guy at Synergy, so once their Synergy Stage 3 lift comes out, that'll be on, and that'll pretty much take care of every single steering component underneath, in addition to the lift that'll go on, and that'll resolve the issues. That's pretty typical with the JL. We hear all the time about track bar issues and gearbox issues and all that. That'll pretty much all get swapped out. After that, then 37s will go on. But Other than that, typical JL, just a few interesting mods. It is also used as a search and rescue vehicle, and it's done great. The first 100 miles that were put on it were in the mountains, straight from the dealership. Got a call and went up there, and it did good. I wheel about 3 to 4 times a month, fairly hard, so I love it. Highly recommend looking into them if you're a wheeling individual, especially with the current interest rates that are going around. I guess I should say where I'm from. I currently reside in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's a nice looking rig there, Tyler. This is one of those Jeeps where when you look at it, it might not look that different from stock, but then once you walk us through it, you can see there's a ton of modifications that have been done here, and these are all really thoughtful off-road modifications. Now go out and get those 37s, because that's really going to make this Jeep unstoppable. If we're going out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and give you an 8.5 out of 10. That's a nice Jeep. I love the murdered out black look as well. But we got to keep on moving on to the next one. So this is a slightly older Jeep, moving back just one generation to the JK. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Hello, I'm Nash Hendry from Salt Lake City, and this is my 2016 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. I originally got this Jeep back in 2016, new off the dealer lot, picked up for around $40,000 at a slight discount from the dealer, but still cheaper overall than what was normally found here around the valley. Some of the first stuff I ended up doing to it was a 2.5-inch lift kit to make it so it didn't look like it was sitting on the ground, which, I hate to say it, all of the stock ones tend to look like they're sitting on the ground. Other things I did, which is on the front grille, is I put in a grille insert just to help protect the grille from rocks and whatnot before I got, well, even after I got the ARB front and rear bumpers and 12,000-pound Warren winch. The bumpers, one of them sadly had to be used and being rear-ended. The other one has not had any uses besides carrying the winch around and catching bugs. Other mods are very obviously the selection of round lights on it. All of them are halogen. I have not upgraded to LEDs yet, just due to liking the color temperature of halogen lights, which is also why I still have the factory headlights, which aren't bad when you're out in the open, but when you're in the city, they are dim. I fully admit that. Other things is to run all the lights and to possibly run the winch when I get around to wiring it is a painless trail rocker. So the painless trail rocker was actually an easy install, and it runs all the lights, as I said previously, but it can also run the winch, which I have the wire sort of tucked away up here. Up here when I want to get around to wiring it actually. The trail rocker is actually really easy to install, and I like the fact it's tucked nicely above the battery, which will make the battery a little bit of a pain to get out when I get to that point. But it came pre-wired with 8 circuits, plus the winch circuit, all on a 200 amp fuse. The V6 itself I've had only one issue with, which the dealer caused. They broke the line going to the front oil cooler, which would have broken eventually on its own, though the dealer just helped that one along and was covered under warranty. Other things that have gone wrong with it, which were also covered under warranty, has been, even though I just closed the hood, the AC. I've had that looked at 3 or 4 times, even though they can't seem to find anything wrong. They say it works, but occasionally it makes a horrendous clunking noise, and I can't figure out why. And the rear right or rear passenger side wheel bearing seal ended up going out on me last spring. Again, was covered under warranty, though just given its timing. To move inside a little bit, I have put on a best top storage unit on the back. I've used it for years and it carries my tow strap and recovery gear, easy to reach. Sadly, I need to find a new solution. This has flexed a lot over the years and has caused well, sort of the issue with the original format and the rubber rear format I ended up picking up later down the line, sort of curling up. The rest of the back is mostly random stuff I'm keeping in there, just due to the fun of Utah currently. But to keep it all secure, this is fairly recent, but it's a diabolical slipstream. And it converts the back of my Jeep Wrangler into a storage unit, essentially, or a trunk, because the slip here latches to under the lip of the tailgate, so you can't open it without opening the tailgate. It does come with a couple pins to pin it in place fully, which go into the holes on either side. I could have aligned it better, that I will admit, but having been rendered once, doesn't quite align. But this does fold up and back, and it will rattle less when I finish putting the foam on. It's just been too cold in Utah. But it folds up fully, and it pulls out with 6 quick release pins, which I only have 2 in right now because I've been doing a lot of work. But it keeps the storage area nicely secure, and the back wall does drop out of it pretty easy. Again, just more of those quick disconnect pins, and the back wall drops off, and I can put in something long. Other mods back here, which you'll just barely notice, is I have a 48-inch high lift jack mounted to the roll bar. This was by Dominion Off-Road, which I think I got off Amazon. And it's just a great place to keep the high lift. It's up out of the way, and when you initially look in, you can't see it, which I love. Downside, does rattle a bit, but not the worst thing in the world. I do also have a soft top for it, so I have the brackets pre-installed, and I just keep those in year round, along with a bikini top, which I hope to run this year if the weather allows. Inside the Jeep, on the A-pillar, I mounted my auxiliary switches, which are tied to the ignition, so they can't be on without me turning them on. But overall, I am very happy with this for owning it, for the amount of time I have owned it. Yeah, it's had its few niggles and a little bit of lemon luck, but overall I have enjoyed it. Anyways, thanks for allowing me to show my vehicle. Anyways, have a good day.
Well, thank you, Nash, for submitting that Jeep. This is sort of opposite to the first one. This Jeep you see rolling down the road, and you know it's been modified. I mean, you put a big light bar up there on top, and you're just asking for attention. Now, what I really like here is all your storage solutions. I really like that two-tier system in the back that sort of closes up, and then where you have your high-lift jack up there. That's, really creative, smart thinking, and obviously you've put a lot of time and energy into sort of configuring this Jeep to suit you specifically, and I do like that quite a bit. And so, Nash, we're gonna go ahead and give you 8 out of 10 on this JK. Let's keep on going back in time. The first Jeep we looked at was a JL, the newest generation. Then we moved back to the JK, and now we're gonna go ahead and look at a 2004 TJ. Let's watch.
Well, hello everyone. My name's Preston from Round Rock, Texas. This is my 2004 Jeep Wrangler TJ Rubicon. I've owned this Jeep since December of 2018. So I've owned it now about a year and 4 months. It had about 104,000 miles on it, and it was pretty much stock when I bought it. It had a 2-inch leveling kit and LED light bar. And you can see now I've done a fair amount of upgrades to it. I wouldn't say it's too crazy, but I feel like it's been tastefully upgraded. So what I did off the bat was I added a 3-inch, it's actually a 4.25-inch lift called the Zone Combo Lift. And what it is it's a 3-inch coil suspension lift with an added 1.25-inch body lift. You can see here the 3-inch Zone coils with their nitro charger shocks that came with the kit. This kit also comes with the sway bar disconnects here, so you can get greater articulation. The 1.25-inch body lift allows you to raise it requires you to raise the engine up. So you had to get these either a motor mount spacer that it came with, or the engine mount lift. Let me show you right here. All right, if you look down in here, you can see these, if it'll focus, these motor mounts lift the engine up about 1.25 inches, or about 1 inch, I'd say. Doesn't need to go 1.25 inches. Since you lift the body up, the engine's lower in it, but those adapters allow you not to lower the transfer case skid plate, which is usually what you have to do for the drive shaft angles to be at the proper angles. So I'm really grateful about that. It really helps the ground clearance. You know, with that skid plate being dropped, you lose a lot of that clearance, and it's like, well, what's the point of lifting it? But with that, I was able to add these 35-inch BF Goodrich KM3s. I paired them with a set of 15-inch wheels off of Quadratec. I really like this wheel and tire combo. The KM3s are very impressive. I originally tried to add some Goodyear Wrangler MTRs to it, but it was a used set I bought, and they would not bounce. In fact, they caused the Jeep to have death wobble. And I tried a number of different things to remedy it, and nothing seemed to work until I realized when I put the factory wheels and tires back on, the death wobble went away. So I figured, well, there's something up with those wheels and tires that just triggers it. So I bought this set of wheels and tires, and ever since putting them on, death wobbles pretty much disappeared. Upgraded the alternator. This is the PA Performance 160 amp alternator, just to give a little bit more juice and to go along with the upgraded battery cables. They've also installed and paired it with this Odyssey Extreme Series AGM battery. You know, all this combined, this is 850 cold cranking amps from this. Just nice to know that the electrical system has been upgraded, putting out more power. So once I finally do install a winch up front, should be able to accommodate that nicely. Original control arms, those are things I do plan on upgrading in the future. But as for right now, you know, budget and everything considered, these are doing just fine. Probably be a good idea to replace at least the drive shafts for now. The control arms too, probably to adjust the angles there better. Here on the back, this is the Orfab tire carrier, and it is phenomenal. It's able to accommodate a 35-inch spare tire. This is one of the used ones I bought and tried. I figured might as well keep one as a spare. This is incredible. It mounts the tire, and you can hold 2 5-gallon jerry cans, and this is a high lift jack, and it also had accommodations for antenna mounts. This is a CB antenna, and this is a ham radio antenna, and this is a Smitty built rear bumper. And the Rockman, I upgraded the skid plate to the Rockman skid plate since I had a inch higher clearance between an inch and quarter clearance between the body and the frame. It allows you to use this skid plate, which tucks that skid plate up higher, so you got more ground clearance. You can see here the exhaust pipe is like the lowest hanging thing now because of that. But this is a very stout, beefy skid plate. I've banged that on rocks and it does not fail. All you gotta do is give it a little touch-up paint and it's like good as new. Here's the interior. I've got, since I have the antenna mounts in the back, this is what they're working for. This is the Kenwood D710 ham radio, which this is the faceplate, and here's the body for it, and this is Cobra 29LX CB radio. And I have them mounted here with this metal bar that goes into the roll. It bolts into the roll bar on each side. That's made by AZ Rocky Road I've used that in the past. I have an external speaker here for the ham radio, and have RAM mounts that are holding. This is the Garmin Montana for navigating off-road. And just go ahead and start it up here. This is the BAFX Bluetooth OBD2 diagnostic tool, and I have it running with this dash command app, so you can see various information from your engine and about your vehicle. Now it's live. You can see if you blip the pedal, you can see some changes in the timing and the mass airflow. And if you go to this dashboard, you can see RPMs. You can even go to fuel economy. You can see it doesn't get the greatest fuel economy with a 4-inch lift and 35s on it and without re-gearing. And I do have a 5-speed manual. The 04s had the 5-speed. In 05 and 06 they upgraded that to a 6-speed, which I do wish it had, but this actually does well for my intents and purposes. Well, that's my 2004 Jeep TJ Rubicon. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
What a great looking TJ you got there, Preston. You said it early on, tasteful upgrades, and I think this thing was really well done. Love the big tires, really like the fuel tank storage that kind of comes in just in front of your spare tire there. I'd never seen anything quite like that. That's a really smart way to do it. And then that dash commander, that's awesome. Having all of that sort of new age technology sort of telling you about your older engine, that is a great way to go about things. So I think of all the Jeeps we just saw, this TJ is the coolest, so man, you're gonna go ahead and get a 10 out of 10. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking at these Jeeps as much as I did. And if you want to submit your own video, go below. We'll throw a link down there. Tommy set up an entire video explaining how to do it. So if you have a cool ride and you're just sitting at home bored like the rest of us, go ahead and shoot us the video, and hey, we just might share it. So that's it for this one. Go below, hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and then come right back here to the channel for the latest news, views, and real world reviews. See ya.